Kobani has captured much of the world's attention. The fighting and bombing in Iraq rages on. Earlier this week, coalition airstrikes targeted ISIL-armed vehicles around Sinjar, home to the Yazidis, where Kurdish Peshmerga fighters continue to battle ISIL forces intent on taking the town. But weapons remain a problem for the Kurds. The Peshmerga say they are still outgunned and that much of the long-promised U.S. weaponry has yet to arrive. Joining us now from Washington, D.C. is Karwan Zebari. He is a director with the Kurdistan Regional Government's representation to the United States. Karwan, good to have you back on the show. As you know, the coalition airstrikes continue across much of Iraq. There have been continuous strikes in recent days in Fallujah, Ramadi, Mosul. What is the current situation, as we've been so focused on Syria, what is the current situation in Iraq?
Good to be back, Antonio. Thank you for having me. As you have mentioned, we are currently focused quite a bit on Syria, yet there is a lot of action going on in Iraq. ISIS as an organization or as an army has a capability to mobilize very quickly and rapidly between different countries and different regions. There is ongoing fight in the north. Peshmerga fighters have been carrying the fight to ISIS, and recently we had captured the city or the town of Rabia, which is a strategic town on the border of Iraq and Syria. There's also ongoing fight in Fallujah, outside of Ramadi, and also, of course, in Heat. So the fighting hasn't stopped. It's gone intense, actually.
So how significant has the progress been? Have you arrested ISIL's advances?
We have certainly stopped the momentum, despite the fact that the Peshmerga forces are still outgunned, because remember the ISIS has captured a lot of American-made heavy artillery, tanks, up-armored Humvees, but we are still on the offensive, and we have been taking some of the towns and villages away from ISIS. So now they are primarily focused in Kobani, now mobilizing some of their tactics.
So you bring up the issue of the arming of the Kurdish Peshmerga forces. The U.S. promised to do that 2 months ago. What's going on there? Are you getting the weapons you need to fight the very well-armed ISIL?
Antonio, this is the frustrating part for the Peshmerga forces. While we are grateful for the airstrikes, the U.S.-led coalition airstrikes, they are certainly effective to a certain extent. Some of the equipment, light to medium equipment, has been received by the Peshmerga forces. The requested heavy artillery, heavy equipment that has been requested has not been received. Yet the Peshmerga is on the offensive despite being outgunned by the ISIS.
And I know they've been getting training from different Western countries to fight ISIL. But again, if you don't have the weapons you need to be trained on, I'm not sure how much that'll do for you. And there are some questions being raised, though, that even if you do get the arms, even if the Peshmerga get the arms, whether they will be a match for ISIL, especially because at some point, a lot of this fighting is going to be urban warfare, something the Peshmerga don't have that much experience in.
Well, you're absolutely right about that. The Peshmerga are an expeditionary force. However, there's a will, there's a loyalty, there's a professionalism in doing this, and certainly loyalty. They are determined to taking back this land. They are determined to putting these people back to the residents of these towns. Yet what's going to happen is, because the Peshmerga is not an expeditionary force, they will do the fight, they will take the fight to ISIS, they will take back these cities, but unfortunately what's going to happen is you will have a lot of casualties as a result of this offensive.
Now, how about the change in the Iraqi government's leadership? As you know, of course, the Peshmerga were not getting armed by the Iraqi government because of sectarianism there. Maliki was using the armed forces basically as an extension of his own power, and really became a mostly Shia organization, so the Kurds were being ignored. Have things improved when it comes to cooperation between the Iraqi government, Iraqi army forces, and the Peshmerga?
You're absolutely right on that, Antonio. Maliki hijacked the political process, consumed military power, alienated the Kurds, marginalized the Sunnis, and unfortunately we are here because of the mismanagement and misgovernment under the leadership of Prime Minister Maliki. Since the new government has been sworn in, the new Prime Minister, he has taken some steps by getting rid of some of these corrupt military commanders and bringing in new ones. He's extended his hand to the Sunni community, the Kurdish community. Yet it's still new. This government is fairly new. It hasn't even gone over its honeymoon. But we hope, and the Kurdish leadership, all the political parties have joined Baghdad under certain conditions, that we will join if the same mistakes that Maliki made are not repeated, and certain demands are met, such as the budget for the KRG, which has not been paid in the past 9 months, and the payment for the Peshmerga forces to take this fight to ISIS.
Right, you're not even, it's not just weapons you weren't getting money you were owed. Can you provide any update on the situation with the Yazidis? Because now it's been almost 2 months since the U.S. used airstrikes against ISIL to try to save so many lives, and I know many of those refugees have gone further into Kurdistan.
This is one of the areas, unfortunately, that has been overlooked, Antonio. Some 1.4 million refugees and IDPs are now taking refuge inside the Kurdistan region. Some of these towns and cities between residents and the IDPs have a ratio of 1-to-1, 1-to-2, in some areas 1-to-3. The Yazidis continue to occupy the Yazidi community, the Christians, the Shabaks, Sunnis, and certainly Shiites that are now in the Kurdistan region are occupying schools, government buildings, backyard skeleton buildings, and it has delayed the academic year by as much as 2 months and counting.
Yeah, the persecution of religious minorities by ISIL is one of the many atrocities we're seeing. Karwan Zebari, thank you for joining us and bringing us an update about what's going on in Iraq and Kurdistan.
Glad to be with you, Tony.
And now for some more stories from around the world.